Okay, welcome back to the deep dive.
Good to be here.
So today we're digging into something you sent over. It's a YouTube transcript.
Yeah, from Abraham Hicks Gems. It's called Listen, Relax, and Let the Universe Handle the Rest. Catchy title.
It is. And what we really want to do is kind of unpack the main ideas in it. It seems to focus on, well, conflict, desires, and this whole idea of personal reality.
That's right. And it tackles that big question, doesn't it? Why we often don't quite get what we want, even when we collectively wish for things to be better.
Yeah, that gap between wanting something and seeing it happen. Let's jump into that.
Okay, so the talk really starts with how our desires even get going, the mechanism behind them.
Right, the rockets of desire. That's the term they use.
Uh-huh. Like when you see something you don't want or you suddenly know exactly what you do want, boom, a desire is launched, a preference.
But here's the twist, and maybe it's a bit counterintuitive. The talk says we often launch the rocket, but then we stay, vibrationally, I guess, stuck thinking about the problem.
Exactly. Instead of tuning into the feeling of the solution we want.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Think about like watching the news. You see something upsetting, conflict, injustice.
Yeah.
Your
Awesome.
desire for things to be different launches.
Yeah.
Right. But then what do you focus on? Usually the negativity, the details of the problem.
Right. You keep replaying it, feeling bad about it.
Precisely.
Yeah.
So even though you want a solution, your energy, your vibration is still tangled up with the problem itself.
Which makes it hard to actually allow or attract the solution. We're sort of vibrationally canceling out our own desire.
You got it.
Yeah.
We're just so focused on what is the conflict that's right there that we don't really shift our inner feeling to match what we want to be.
And that explains maybe why we feel like we're spinning our wheels sometimes, trying to fix things, but just stuck.
hmm And that leads right into the next big idea, which is about scarcity. This sort of illusion of scarcity.
Ah, the idea that life's like a competition. That for me to win, someone else has to lose.
Exactly that. The transcript uses this image of us fighting over these little piles of spoils.
Instead of seeing that there's like infinite potential, universal expansion.
Yeah. Or the analogy of the economy, everyone's obsessed with dividing this puny little pie.
Instead of thinking, hey, maybe we can bake more pies or a bigger pie.
Right. And the key point is this focus on limitation, on the small pie, actually cuts us off from our own power to create more.
So that scarcity mindset itself becomes a block. If you believe there isn't enough, you act in ways that confirm that belief.
Pretty much. You get focused on competition, protection, not creation.
Yeah.
It's a subtle but powerful disconnect. Understanding that can be one of those aha moments.
Okay, that makes sense. So the talk then pivots a bit, right, to something more personal.
It does. It talks about happiness and where we look for it.
The idea that needing things outside of us to change before we can feel good is, well, trouble.
Yeah. Needing others to understand you or waiting for world events to line up just right. The transcript basically says if that's your strategy for happiness, you're going to have a tough time.
Because you can't control all that external stuff.
Right. Think about the news example again. If only that situation resolved, then I could feel okay.
But the teaching here is find a way to feel okay now, even with the discord.
That's the core of it. Finding that inner well-being, despite the external circumstances, is where the real power lies. It sounds kind of backward, maybe.
It does a bit. Like, shouldn't we be bothered by bad things?
Well, yes, you notice them. You launch the desire for better. But dwelling in the feeling of bothered doesn't help. Shifting your inner state is the most direct influence you have. Making your happiness dependent on everything else aligning perfectly is, well, giving your power away.
Okay, I get that. So what about the bigger picture? Like mass consciousness, it can feel like you're just one person pushing against this huge wave of negativity sometimes.
The transcript definitely acknowledges that feeling, being this, singular individual against a resistant mass consciousness. It's a common feeling.
But it offers some hope there.
It does, actually. It suggests that the overall consciousness isn't fixed. It's evolving. The idea is that the proportion of people who are more allowing, more open vibrationally, is gradually increasing.
How so?
Well, it suggests that as older generations with perhaps more resistant patterns transition out, newer generations born into a slightly different vibrational climate come in with maybe more openness.
So like a slow generational shift towards more allowing.
Kind of. The phrase used is, what is becoming is always an improvement. Paints this picture of long-term, gradual betterment. It's an optimistic take.
A sort of trust in the larger process. That's interesting. Okay, so we've talked focus, scarcity, happiness. Now let's get into the big one, creating your own reality.
Right. This is central. But there's a really important nuance the transcript highlights.
Which I
It's not necessarily about magically changing external physics, but about creating your perception of reality, your perspective. That's what you have direct control over.
Okay, explain that more.
Think about eyewitnesses to an accident.
Right. Multiple people see the same thing.
But their stories can be wildly different, can't they? What they focus on, how they felt, what details stood out. They all saw the event, but their experience, their perceived reality of it, is unique.
So it's about the lens we view things through. My reality is shaped by my internal filters, my focus, my vibration.
Exactly. And the transcript stresses this. Each perspective is uniquely yours. Nobody else sees the world exactly the way you do.
And if we really grasp that, it changes how we interact with people, doesn't it?
Hugely. It leads right into the next point. Letting go of needing others to agree with you or see things your way.
Because their viewpoint comes from their unique reality, their experiences, their vibration.
Precisely. The transcript argues it's basically a waste of energy trying to force someone into your perspective. It's like trying to tune their radio to your station when they're wired differently.
That's a powerful thought. So much conflict comes from trying to make others see things correctly, meaning our way.
hmm And the talk mentions things like different backgrounds, finances.
Yeah.
People use those to explain differing views. And yeah, those are factors.
But the core issue is deeper. It's the fundamental difference in perception.
That's the idea. Everyone's operating from their own unique vibrational standpoint.
Okay, so if we're not trying to change others' views, what should we focus on? The talk goes into judgment, right?
Yes, the trap of judgment. Constantly labeling things as bad, wrong, terrible.
How is that a trap?
Because the very act of focusing on and judging something negatively, well, it keeps you vibrationally tuned to that negative thing.
Ah, so you keep attracting or experiencing more of what you're judging negatively?
That's the mechanism described. You give energy to what you focus on. The transcript talks about these bad piles. If you spend all your time sorting through the bad piles, defining how bad they are.
You don't have any attention left for the good piles, the things you actually want.
Exactly. Your preoccupation with what's wrong literally prevents you from noticing or aligning with what could be right or what you desire. It's a cycle.
A self-limiting pattern fueled by judgment. Wow.
And this ties into another tendency, looking for external fixes.
Meaning like wanting someone else to solve the problems.
Yeah, thinking someone else needs to fix this. The transcript suggests this might even come from early childhood, relying on parents or caregivers.
But the core message here is self-responsibility, empowerment.
Totally. You are the creator of your reality, your
Mm.
experience,
Mm.
not the boss of everyone else's reality, not the fixer of all external conditions, but the master of your own perception and vibration.
Which brings us to the vortex, this vibrational reality concept.
Yes, the existing vibrational reality. The idea is that every time you have a desire, every time you focus on something wanted, you create an energetic version of it, a vibrational counterpart.
So like a blueprint exists already on an energy level.
That's the concept.
Yeah.
It's not just a wish for the future. It already exists vibrationally. It's been created by your focus and desire.
And it's just waiting for us to tune into it.
Pretty much. That's what getting into the vortex means in this context. It's about aligning your current vibration, your thoughts, feelings, beliefs, with that vibrational reality that already exists.
Becoming a match to what you've asked for?
Exactly. Like tuning the radio dial. You need to get onto the frequency of what you want to experience.
Okay, but I can hear someone listening thinking, this sounds really abstract. I can't see a vortex.
Well, that transcript anticipates that. It clarifies this isn't something you perceive with your normal five senses. It's not a physical place.
It's a vibrational state, a feeling.
Yes. It's about feeling the alignment, the resonance, the positive expectation. It's an inner state of being, not an outer location.
Got it. So, pulling all these threads together from this Abraham Hicks talk, the main takeaway seems to be about consciously managing our focus, right?
Absolutely. Shifting attention away from unwanted problems and deliberately cultivating the feeling, the vibration of the desired outcome.
And accepting that reality is subjective. My reality is mine, yours is yours.
And that's freeing, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It means letting go of needing everyone else to agree or change. Focus on your own alignment, That's where the leverage is.
That really does feel empowering. Okay, so a final thought for everyone listening to maybe reflect on.
Yeah.
Think about one area in your life right now where you feel a bit stuck, where your focus keeps going back to the problem, the
Scratch that
frustration.
one.
What would it actually feel like to deliberately shift your focus? To practice feeling the solution, the desired outcome, even just for a few minutes? And can you do that while also allowing that other people involved might see it completely differently? And just let that be okay.
It's that shift from fighting the external to cultivating the internal, from resistance to allowing.
Definitely something to mull over. Thanks for diving into this with me today.
My pleasure. Lots to think about.
Indeed. We encourage everyone to keep exploring these ideas, see how they land for you. Thanks for tuning in to the deep dive.